What's up, boys and girls? This is Black and Yellow Movies, and we watched The Post, starring Tom Hanks and Meryl Streep.
And a little bit of Bob Odenkirk as well. Now, The Post is a real-life story about the U.S. government covering up the Vietnam War that spanned multiple presidents.
Now, this is Steven Spielberg's latest film, and it's kind of in the same vein as Bridge of Spies. This movie has a very big-budget Hollywood feel to it. It has a star-studded cast, a star director, but not only that, it deals with very specific subjects that are very topical. Women's rights and also freedom of press.
Now, one of the problems we had with this film was that the movie seemed a little too Hollywood. It seemed antiquated and manipulative at times.
The score was pushed on us at every single dramatic moment. There was way too many unnecessary camera movements. And on top of that, we didn't really resonate with a lot of the characters. It was about Kate Graham's story as the first female publisher in the United States, but we wanted to know more about the opposition. We wanted to know more about Nixon's side or the government's side. And in the end, we didn't get that.
Now, this movie could have been so much more, but seeing as there's a few things we had a problem with, we gave this film a solid 7.0 out of 10.
This movie has some good topics to it, some good morals to it. It talks about freedom of press, which is obviously very important in American society, and also women's rights. This is obviously an agenda that's being pushed a little bit more in Hollywood today, and this film is no different. And it's actually nice to see such a big story, this scandal, this cover-up, such a big mark in American history be led by a woman character. Me and Jamel watched this movie with a much older audience. And they loved it. They were delighted at every turn. They laughed at every single joke, and all those moments that were fed to us by Spielberg, all those great triumphs that happened in the movie, they clapped. And there was numerous times that they clapped, that they really enjoyed it. And I feel like it was not only nostalgic, but it was a feel-good story for them. Now, the problem for us is that we watch so many films that we've always talked about how we don't like how a movie is too Hollywood. We don't like how it's spoon-fed, and we really don't like it when a movie is manipulating us.
Right.
And we feel like this movie was doing all of those things. It was just too Hollywood, and it felt very antiquated.
Now, when we use the term too Hollywood, it's not necessarily saying we hate all Hollywood films, because there are some films that come out of Hollywood that we truly enjoy, and some of them have been this year. But when I talk about mechanics of a movie, when it comes to cinema, I think a lot of Hollywood films lose what it takes to be a great movie, a great mark in the movie history. And I think you can break boundaries, and I think you can push away from that. The problem with this film was that it didn't do anything original. It didn't do anything that kind of stood apart, even for Spielberg. And so, too Hollywood for this film, and specifically for this movie, too Hollywood was, numerous plot points that were so obvious. The tone of the film when it came to the music and how it manipulated you is like, this is when you're supposed to feel good.
Violin.
Now feel good. Some of the dialogue that Meryl Streep shared with, her counterparts were very just triumphant in not the greatest way. This movie didn't make me interpret anything. I didn't come away feeling refreshed or reinvigorated to go see another movie. I was kind of like checking my watch, when this is gonna end.
I said before that I enjoy the fact that this movie was based on a woman. This movie was led by a woman and her decision. The problem was they didn't make the decision that hard for her. It's supposed to be specifically about how hard this decision is for her. She might lose her family's company and her family's fortune that she had for so long. And this movie fails to do what it set out to do, which was show how hard this decision was.
Right.
But not only that, there's other things that we would have liked to see more of the movie. No, sorry. There's not only that, there's more things that we would have liked to see this movie do. There was not really another antagonist, or there wasn't an antagonist at all that, at most she had her lawyers or her, co-workers
trying to advise her to do otherwise.
Not to publish these stories that would ruin, the government and ruin her company. That was it. We would have loved to see Nixon's side. We would have loved to see the other side that is trying to cover it up, that's trying to, prevent her. Not only that, in this movie, they talked about how the government has already blocked the New York Times
The New
to
York
do this.
Times.
And that would have been a great story.
That would have been an amazing story. And they tell you that in the film where they go, the New York Times posted something. They had the pages already. They posted it, and then the government cracks down on them. And so the Washington Post is now like, oh, we got to get this out there, this and that. So it almost seems like a second-rate story in comparison to what it actually could have been. Imagine the struggle we would have seen for the New York Times to break the story, be the first one on the take. That would have been way more entertaining and way more just kind of invigorating to watch. But I think since this one was trying to push, a more feminine agenda, they had to go with the Washington Post because of the first female newspaper publisher.
And in the end, that's why this movie suffered. It had an agenda and it pushed it, but it might be a movie that you will tell your grandmother to go watch. And she will really like it for nostalgia's sake.
Enjoy it.
It's very warm, it's very convenient, and there's not a lot of sad moments. There's not any sad moments.
There's not any sad moments. There's times where it's supposed to draw you in with the tension. Doesn't really do that.
No tension, no stress, no anxiety. It's a very good film a really good film that an older generation will like because it's so,
easy, convenient, safe.
Well, that's Black and Yellow Movies, reviewing The Post. If you've seen it, if you agree with us or disagree with us, please comment below. If you liked our video, please give us a thumbs up and give us a subscribe. We'll be back next time for another movie review, and we'll see you guys next time. See ya.